You know what the greatest lesson is that I learned from my last career that I used to teach to my GMs every day for 14 years is that shit is gonna happen. And your job as a leader is to minimize the amount of said shit. And if you don't know how to do that, we're gonna get into that in this video right now. So if you're 30 or older by now, then you've come to the realization at this point in your life that sometimes shit just happens and there's nothing you can do. Sometimes that's the way it is, right? Sometimes all you can do in a given situation is bow your head and weather the storm and just pray to whatever God you choose to pray to in your fashion and hope that you make it out of that situation with your sanity, right? That sound familiar? Like sometimes it's all you can do, man. Like you just gotta suck it up, deal with it, and get through it, right? But then there are other times that you can prepare for it, that you can do things to minimize the amount of shit just happening, right? Like, and you think about it, like it's happened to all of us, right? Like, you're gonna lose your keys at some point. You're gonna lock yourself out of the car or the house, right? You're gonna get fired or laid off from a job at some point in your life. You're gonna shit yourself one day when you think you're farting. The finger's gonna go through the toilet paper at some point when you're doing your bit. Like shit happens, right? Like I know that's kind of raw and real, but it's real, right? Like we all done had poop on our fingers before. You know what I mean? Like shit happens. Like it's inevitable. That's life. Somebody and care about is gonna pass away. Like it's life. Like it's just a part of the journey. You know what I mean? Like this is something that we're all gonna go through at some point or another because shit happens. But you know the difference between a real leader and just another member of the team. And I'm talking about real leadership, whether that be in your family, whether that be in your workplace, whether that be just in your personal life, like but a real leader. You know the difference between a real leader and just another member of the team is that a real leader has to think 2 to 3 steps ahead to minimize the shit that's gonna happen. So now, what do you do? How do you minimize the amount of shit that happens in your life or your job or your relationship or whatever? Like, how do you minimize that? And the answer we've all heard before. We've all heard this, and sometimes it just doesn't click. Sometimes it just doesn't register. But I'm going to repeat it again because it's the honest to God truth. Like, the way to minimize the amount of censorship is to think 2 to 3 steps ahead by preparing. And how do you prepare? You practice, you train, you hone whatever skill, whatever it is that you're doing, you work at it and you put in the work and you do it over and over and over again. And that is how leaders become winners and they stay winners because they practice every day. Like when I was in the military, I spent 5 years in the military, and in the military, we spent a lot of time training, doing the same thing over and over and over again until it becomes second nature. Not until you get it right, but you do it so much that you can't get it wrong. So you practice. And I'm going to give you some examples of some notable people who have gone on record and saying, like, dude, like, what I did was not some special talent. It was just, I did this. So I'll give you an example. I heard this recently, and I didn't even know this, but did you know that Jerry Seinfeld is the only billionaire billionaire with a B? Bravo. He's the only billionaire comedian. That shit blew my mind, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I didn't even think I never even watched Seinfeld. Like I didn't think that show was funny at all. Like I sorry Jerry if you ever watched this, but like I didn't think that it was funny at all. Like I that kind of comedy just wasn't for me. But one thing I learned, I watched a video of two guys interviewing Mr. Beast, right? If you, everybody should know Mr. Beast by now, right? We know Mr. Beast. So he was interviewing Mr. Beast, and during the interview, there was a conversation that popped up that said that Jerry Seinfeld is the only billionaire comedian, and he got there because he did one thing every day for 2 hours over a 45-year span. And he said that for 45 years, the first 2 hours of the day when I woke up, I wrote jokes. Why? He said, you want to get good at writing jokes? Then you have to write jokes. You want to get good at something? Then you have to put the work in to do it. You have to do the reps. You have to do it over and over and over again. You have to train. So when I would explain that to my guys, I would tell them like the practice the procedure. When you got downtime, do it over and over and over again until like it becomes muscle memory. Until you've done it so much that you can't get it wrong. And that's how things don't happen. That's how you minimize the amount of shit. So Jerry wanted to take control of his life. He wanted to be a leader in his life, in his family. So he practiced and he honed his skill over and over again. And there's actual footage of him somewhere, because I saw it. There's actual footage of him sitting in the middle of the street, and he wrote his notes on like post-its and stuff like that. So like he's sitting in the middle of the street, and the street is literally layered with all of his notes over the last 45 years. It literally covered the street. It looked like the yellow brick road. I'm gonna try to find that image and I'll show it to you. I'll put it up on it. I'll try to find it. But like that's incredible. And that is what you do. You practice, you do it over and over again. You do it over and over again until and you do it in your sleep. Kobe Bryant has said, right? Mamba mentality, right? Kobe Bryant has said that he spent hours in the gym. He was there. There are NBA players on record saying that, dude, I would make plans with Kobe to work out with him in the gym and stuff like that. And I'd get to the gym and he'd already be pouring with sweat, icing his knees. So not only did he make it to the gym before me, but he's already worked out. And it's like 5 in the morning. You put the reps in. You do that shit over and over again. And then you minimize. By doing so, you're preparing yourself. And like I said, you could use this going like whether you in any industry that you are, like in any industry that you work in, you can use this in your everyday life. If you practice, if you prepare, if you say, you know what, there is a chance, right? We have savings, right? That's why you hear people say they have a savings account. You prepare for some shit just happening. Like it's not a mystery, but that is a point that I used to reiterate to my employees all the time. Like, dude, when something happens, sometimes shit just happens. But you have to minimize the amount of shit just happening, and you do that by honing your skill, by repetition, by you go to the gym, you lift the weights, you go, you want to be a writer, you got to write. You want to be a painter, you got to paint. You want to be a coach, you got to coach. You want to be a ball player, you got to ball. Like you got to do whatever it takes over and over again until you're so good. Like Alex Hormozy said, until you're so good, you've done it so much that is unreasonable that you won't be successful. that you won't win. Now, let me say this because I want to be clear because there's a lot of people that'll tell you, just, be lucky to find a job and go hard and do into that and do whatever. But I'm a firm, like, if it's not something I'm interested in, like, I'm not gonna be interested in it. Like, if it's not something that I tell myself like I could put my all into, like, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I'm not, like, I can't even, I don't even have the energy to force myself to do something that I really don't want to do. Like, I'm just not gonna do it, right? So if you're doing something that you don't want to do, then maybe you need to reiterate that.
Oops.
And the reason being is because if you're don't get it so okay, let me say it like this. Don't get into a profession. Don't go do something and say I'm gonna put everything into this simply because you heard it's gonna make a lot of money. There's a lot of people that do that. They get into stuff then because they heard and they saw a video or they read somewhere online you can make thousands of dollars by doing this and doing that and doing this. And a lot of times those things don't work out. They don't plan out because it's something you're not interested in. You didn't really want to do it, right? Understand that money is not the most important thing. If you do what you love, the money will come. But if you chase money, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get somewhere you don't want to be, and you're going to give up. You're going to let it all go because it's not where you're happy. So do some practice. Practice something you're good at. Practice something that you already do better than anything else, which is your gift. Get into something that you're gift at. So, one thing I hear Steve Harvey say a lot is like if you fry chicken better than anybody else then you need to be somewhere frying chicken. If you do hair, babysit, whatever. Like, these are all things that that make sense. It's like these are your gifts. So practice that. Don't get into something to chase money. It's not gonna work, dude. Like, it may work for a little bit, but eventually you're gonna be like, I really don't like doing this, even with the money. So take what you're gifted at and do that over and over and over again. Don't get into coaching because you heard coaching you can make a lot of money. Don't go to Hollywood and you have like the slightest clue about acting. Like, don't do that. Like, focus on what you're good at. That is your biggest chance. That is your greatest chance at finding success in your life, not in your job or whatever. Even if you're good at your job and that's what you're good at, that's what you're gifted at, but then by all means do that. But whatever it is, do what it is that makes you happy, that gives you fulfillment, that makes your heart sing, because then you're going to put your all into what you got. And when you do that, the money will follow. Money is a byproduct of following your heart and your dreams. You want the most money that you could ever make? Follow your dreams. Pursue your gifts. Do that. And the money will inevitably come. I want you to keep something in mind, all right? That when you set out to do whatever it is that you're gonna do, when you practice your skill and you do it over and over again, come on, it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be it's gonna be you're gonna doubt yourself. You're gonna do the you're gonna feel it, right? Because you're doing something that you just thought you loved, and really it's like, wow, like this is how I can make it, right? Keep in mind that going after that promotion, going after being a leader for the first time, going after, starting your entrepreneurial journey, starting a family, like, starting, they say, life investing is risky, but so is starting a family. So is getting married, right? So is having kids. Like, that's all risky. It's all risky. So you get better at it by doing it. You didn't when you were a teenager and you went to go get your license, you didn't get better at driving by sitting in the passenger seat. I've taught a few people how to drive, and the last person I attempted to, I told that person, I was like, in order to get better at driving, you have to drive. Like, you're never gonna learn sitting in the passenger seat. I remember when I taught Lexi how to drive. I taught my wife how to drive. And the moment she got her permit, the moment she passed the written test, literally, I gave her the keys to the car and I said, "You're driving everywhere we go." You're never like, we moved to North Carolina from New York and she was used to having public transportation. So when we moved to North Carolina, there wasn't public transportation like that. So she had, in order to get around, like, I needed her to get her license because she was relying on me to take her everywhere. So the moment she got her permit, I put her ass in the driver's seat. Like, this is what you're gonna do, and we're gonna do this until you're comfortable. I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. I'm not gonna put you in harm's way, but you're never gonna learn sitting in the passenger seat. You didn't give up walking, right? Like, walking was hard until you walked, until one day that's all you knew was walking. Like, everything you do, anything Denzel Washington said, anything you do, anything you practice, you'll get good at. So practice. Just do it over and over again. The difference between a real leader and a member of the team is the ability to think 2 and 3 steps ahead. And you do that by practicing over and over again until you can't get the shit wrong. Keep in mind, dude, like, the problem that you're having, whether that be in life, whether that be in the job, whether that be whatever, the problem you're having is not the problem. The problem you're having is how to handle the problem you're having. Life is 10% the shit just happens, and 90% of the things of what you do about it. So control what you can control and forgive yourself for the rest. And just know that in order to be a leader, you have to practice your skill and do that shit over and over again until you can't get it wrong. So if I talk to you today, if you felt this message and you want more, you want to hear more, you want to see like me, like, this is what I do. All right. So if you want more of this, you want to come sit and vibe and chill and get some advice on how you can show up and be a leader in your life, not in just your job or your relationship, but in your life. You can take these principles and you can take and apply them to your life. Jim Rohn said that you can have more than what you got, because you can become more than what you are. Never forget that. Peace.